Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. We are coming to you on a fresh Monday morning out of some good LA rain. On this podcast, we're going to be talking about stepping into our soft era, living in our soft era where we slow down without feeling this word. And I know when you guys hear this word, it's a little cringe because a lot of us have heard it, floja, quote unquote floja, pues. For me, I want us to more discuss it as in like, how do we step into just really knowing how to take a break, how to slow down, how it's okay to kick your feet up and relax. But before we do that, let me check in with my amazing co-hosts aquí, Ceci and Irene. ¿Cómo se encuentran esta mañana?
Good. Excited to talk about this. For those that don't know what floja means, it means to be lazy. Lazy. I don't feel lazy today. I'm excited to be here.
Same. Excited to be here. I took a day off today, a personal day off today. It's a Monday, but it's not about being floja. I need to take care of myself. That's how I see it. And I'm glad that we're bringing this topic to the table.
Today's also Ceci's birthday. Happy birthday, Ceci. Yeah. I think this is the second year.
Happy birthday, Ceci.
I think so.
It might be.
think so.
Felicidades. We love you.
Thank you. Love you guys. Woo, aquí seguimos en los 40.
Yeah, aún
ni bueno, nada. Still.
Vamos
a ver qué decimos en los 50. A ver qué.
50 y viva.
Y
respirando. There you go.
50 and alive.
How did you guys feel hearing that floja word? What kind of feelings or what does your body do when you hear floja, lazy? Ceci, your face. ¿Qué dice?
I think I thought about like how in our culture, if no estamos descansando, or when in our eyes we're like resting, but if estamos descansando or just acostadas en el sillón because we're tired, like it's seen as floja, or like el no estar activa siempre, because we saw, las mamás de ustedes, my mom, like siempre haciendo algo, siempre going to sleep late, waking up early, and always so active. And I think it's because it was that generation, and also no querían aparentar ser flojas, because I think it's common knowledge in our culture that está nomás ahí sentada sin hacer nada. She's just there not helping. And we come from a culture where like the women in the kitchen, always cleaning, always taking care of everything, of everyone and everything, and then leaving themselves last. So that came up, like the word floja, like no, like not wanting to aparentar ser floja in light of the rest of the family and extended family, like, oh no, siempre me tengo que mantener activa en algo, haciendo algo, so that comes up.
I just thought of my mom. I thought that was one of her favorite words, obviously, to use. Maybe not necessarily directed at us, and I'm sure she used it towards us. I was the baby, so I was often looked at as the one that had it easy. But she will say that about herself all the time too. My mom is like 84, 85. She doesn't need to be running around doing something, cleaning something, cooking something, being active. She should be resting, but she'll say, I'm just here laying around being a floja, and she'll still insult herself when I check in. So it's still everything that Ceci said, like this idea that the word is an insult because you should be better, you should be doing something. So I thought of her, and I thought of her using it to offend herself.
Aquí flojeando. Oh, que estás aquí flojeando, ¿verdad?
Aunque, me duelen los pies, los tengo hinchados. Le hago, siéntese, descanse. No. Es que hay mucho que hacer, le hago, pero no todo. Everything doesn't have to get done today, right? And not everything has to get done today. And the reason I wanted to ask what that felt like, because for me, it puts a little knot in my stomach. I think for the three of us, we've been active kids, right? We were active kids, we were active people, young adults, active adults. And to this day, I believe that we run at 100%. And if we could run it higher, we would. But we know that there's not enough hours. There's only 24 hours in the day. And at least 8 of those have to go to sleep. And if we sleep well, hopefully, you get the rest that you need so you can have full battery para todo el día. Mind you, we have kids, we have careers, we're doing chingona stuff outside of that. We're staying busy. For me, like that feeling of floja was more of like how sometimes our moms would use it, in the conversations, like, oh, sí, es como media flojita, pero como así, like to sometimes describe that there was like low ambition or this, but I was kind of confused with other words, and they use it like very like gentle, según ellas. Es media flojita, ¿verdad? Es media flojita. Pero it was like to mean other things too. So at the same time, I'm like, no, that word, no sé, me da como un like punch to the stomach, I feel. Because I don't think I would not consider myself lazy, but I'm definitely chill. Maybe I'm not stressing the way you stress, but doesn't mean that I'm not inside going like this, like my heart's beating at 1,000,000 beats per minute. And I feel that, oh my God, what am I going to do to get all this done? But what I wanted to also kind of talk about is what is a soft error, really? It's so more of like, it's not being lazy. It's not giving up. It's not really losing ambition, but it's more like now that at our age que entendemos, right? That we understand the importance of that the harmony in our lives, right? It's choosing gentleness, it's choosing more clarity, it's choosing to intentionally do the things that we do. And instead of just like échale ganas syndrome, it's more of like voy a tomarme el tiempo to just relax, So we talked about how like we grew up watching our moms taking care of everyone, watching our moms take no breaks, I don't know if you guys ever saw your moms do self-care. I did it. I think I remember being young. Y mamá vendió Mary Kay for a very, very short period of time when I was born. So like this is when I'm young. And I remember her doing her little Mary Kay routine, her toner, sus cremitas. And then when she would be putting us to bed at night, it was when we had added the next little room. And it was a really small bedroom where my siblings would sleep and I would sleep on the floor. So teníamos bunk beds and my sister slept at the bottom bunk, my brother at the top. And then I would sleep on the floor. Me enseñó entendido. And my mom se agarraba de las literas. She would hold on to the little pole, the side pole of the literas after she did her cremitas. And she would do like little exercises where she would go tippy toes and then go stretch all the way down to like, being like kind of like a squat, but like holding on. Very ballet-ish in a sense, But I was like, okay, but I have this little memory of my mom. And it wasn't like my mom didn't go out with friends. My mom didn't do spa days. My mom really like cositas así, no. But for her, she was always like, I remember those moments of her facial routine, her little exercises, and then playing with us outside. She'll be like, okay, we're going to jump rope. And we're like, what? My mom knows how to jump rope? Y jugaba brincasoga. O que jugábamos a la traes, right? Like, which is tag. Or we would play, a la víbora de la mar, like holding hands and doing things like that. But my mom was always like an active lady. And in my head, I was like, how does she have time to bond with us like that and do these little things at night and still do the mom thing and run the house? So did you guys see any of that self-care with your mummies growing up?
I didn't, and I'm glad that Sissy did, because she's like getting emotional, so it's sweet. I'll let her gather her thoughts and her smiles. I didn't. My mom was a typical mom that was like working to the bone and checked out once she was done working. She liked to have fun and liked to dance and be social and drink like in social settings, which is nice. Maybe that's where I get my entertaining side from. But yeah, my mom was not the kind of person that would play with the kids. And I was, again, the youngest. Maybe she did it with the oldest. But she did get into facials in her 80s, believe it or not. And she loves getting a good facial. When I took her on vacation to Canada, I got her like a really, really good one. And man, she came out like an angel and singing the praises. And she kept saying, I will pay for you. You get one. I'll pay for Sophie. She needs to get one. And I'm like, no, it's not about paying for us to get one too. So my mom likes facials, which is very cool. And I've been wanting to do like a mobile one to send someone to her house as a gift. I have to do that. I got to do it this Christmas. Hold me to it. And I even talked to the girl about getting it done. We just never looked at the dates. So yeah, my mom's not a self-care person, but she is finally slowed down after all these decades. And maybe she was, by the way, maybe in her 30s and 40s, she got facials, and I'm too young to realize. And for whatever reason, when I was observant and watching her, my mom was not into self-care. She always talked about how she wasn't good at wearing makeup. She always talked about how perfume, she could only wear one kind because the rest made her allergic. She loves like her cremas, of course, but I think it's like an aging thing. But a self-care thing, I think my mom was not that type.
Yeah, I think that's where I got it from, because I think that was her personality. She always had You mentioned Mary Kay. Yeah, at some point, my mom también compraba que sus cremas de Mary Kay. I think her cousin or someone sold them, right? O sea, alguien vendía Mary Kay. Oh, sí, le voy a comprar Mary Kay. And then I remember growing up, our front door neighbor vendía Avon. O la señora de la Bon, le voy a ordenar la señora de la. So eran cremas and this. And then I remember when she would go to Macy's, like she would get like, I don't know, compraba un perfume or whatever de Lancome. And then ahí compraba el set. It was like crema, toner, because I remember, I could still, when you were saying like the toner, I was like, oh my God, I remember the blue toner, the Lancome, and I still remember the smell. I don't know that she used it every day, because I remember seeing like just the toner, like, casi ahí guardado. I don't know that she used it every day, but I think she tried, she tried to get her cremas and all that. I also remember her having like VHS videos of, no sé si era Jane Fonda, pero una señora que hacía ejercicios y luego se ponía a hacer sus ejercicios a veces también. It wasn't something that she kept doing throughout her life, but I remember like maybe her 30s, her 40s that she would do that. And then her entire life, even till the end, her nails. Like she would always get her nails done, always, like that was her thing. One of her favorite colors to get was kind of like this, like burgundy, reddish, like le encantaba así. So, and then massages, she would never go and get massages, pero le encantaba agarrar a one of my cousins that's good with massage. A ver, that's mami. And like she would like make them give her massages. And a couple times we did gift her that, like, oh, we're taking you to the spa, you're gonna get a massage. So yeah, I think that's where it came from. I want to say that she was very good about that. Again, maybe not consistent, maybe not really doing it or thinking like, oh, this is me taking care of me, pero siempre fue, I guess, esa vanidad de que, oh, me tengo que ver bien, me tengo que ver arregladita, her makeup, her nails, in her older years, like she loved to have like the short haircut with her canas, like que se le vieran como platinum, like she loved that. So yeah, I think that's where I got her from, just seeing my mom, like, always doing this or that to take care of herself, in a sense.
My mom, actually, funny enough, she didn't, like you mentioned getting your nails done. My mom really started getting her nails when she couldn't see, like as she got older. Like I feel like all my mom's self-care kind of started from her having to, the necesidad, kind of like go somewhere else. Because now that I think about it, that's been her jam for the last 10 years, like her little salon that she goes to. And she does call them the little chinitas. Sorry if I'm offending anybody. And she goes to the corner place. Yeah, and they love her there. They know her there. They call her mama. And she has gotten her nails the same color probably for the last decade, and her toes the same color. And it's champagne. Shout out to the champagne color. And she gets her eyebrows waxed there. But my mom would just like pluck her eyebrows and like paint her own nails. And I wouldn't consider that self-care. She did want to look good, like you said. It was part of her routine, like brushing your teeth. But the kind of self-care act of like having someone do it for you, go to a salon, be pampered, I didn't really see that until she was older and kind of had to go to someone else because she can't do it herself.
Hair, maybe you said 10 years. I think my mom's gone a little bit like not dyeing her hair. She says, ya me cansé, que se me vean mis canas. And my mom has such beautiful hair, like, no sé, lo tiene como, like wavy, like she has a wave. My dad's the one with the curly hair. But my mom has like this thick, wavy hair, and it just like looks so pretty in her, on her head. I don't know. It looks so beautiful. Like, you were saying platinum, que tu mamá se así, and then right now, Irene, you were saying your mommy and her uñas. Like, there were things that they did, and then I feel that ustedes creen que at a certain point they stop because they're like, no vale la pena, or it's just like, ¿para qué? Si ya me estoy haciendo vieja, or what, because I do remember one more thing my mom would do on Saturdays. Se ponía su huevo con mayonesa en el pelo.
My mom did that. I mean,
like, y si una mascarilla de mayonesa en el pelo, forget it, okay? I'm done. Don't even put on my sandwich, menos en mi hair, okay? But it's like, I wonder why. It is, Ceci, obviously, like, your mom continued, like your sister's a hairstylist, so she was probably like, get over here, lady, I'm gonna do your hair. Yeah, but and like Irene, you mentioned your mom
she would do my mom's hair
side. I can't believe it's been like that. She's been going through that for 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. She couldn't drive, which took her independence. She's really pivoted. She makes it work, but yeah, there's certain things. She doesn't stop dyeing her hair though, and I think she should. My abuelita, her mom, had beautiful white hair at her age. Gorgeous, soft, beautiful white hair, short. My mom refuses, and she always says she's going to do it. And she says that she's tired, like you said, your mom said. But she then, she's like, oh, it looks terrible.
Her hand shakes now. So I don't have as much time as I did before, but I would take her to the nail shop. So now I think she's more comfortable using Uber. I'll send her an Uber para que la traiga para la casa, So she's like, ay, a ver cuando me mandas un Uber y voy y me pinto las uñas. I was like, okay, lady. Okay,
I love
lady.
that. Qué moderna, qué moderna.
My mom will call me to get an Uber, but since the freaking nail salon is 2 blocks away, I'm not going to pay an Uber driver for that ride. I go and I take her. And she's like, I told you que me hablaras un Uber, ¿para qué viniste hasta acá? Me da más pena. Says my poor mom wants to go. Some strangers, she has no family to drive her 2 blocks. She does. So I will go take her when she calls me for that Uber. But when she calls me to order her pizza, I'm all in.
You're such a giver, Irene. I love you for that. You're such a giver. You said you like to be showered with gifts. You shower with gifts.
I love that about you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to you today, and I'm like, ay, estoy. I want to cry. Aww. I'm like, I want to cry.
That's so sweet. That's my love language. My mom showed me love. My mom showed me love by giving me stuff, especially good food.
Sorry, I should share my mom's hospital right now.
Oh, Vero, I'm sorry, Vero. You can be in your soccer era.
Okay.
Tell us everything about it.
She went into my sister took her to urgent care. Thank you, sister. But the urgent care's like, oh, you need to take her to the ER right now. So I took her because she's like, ay, no sé qué siento. And we're always like, it's your anxiety. That's why you feel chest pain y esto. But she had been feeling sick since 6 in the morning. And then she took a nap. And then she got up and all this stuff. So she was still feeling unwell. So then she went to go next door to Gabby. Se iba tocando, And Gabby's like, fine, I'll take you to the urgent care. And urgent care's in the ER. So my sister took her to Long Beach Memorial. Y la admitieron. They left her overnight. And then my sister sent the doctor's notes. And she's just like, oh, okay, admitted, 78-year-old, woman and all this stuff. And it says pretty much like for deteriorating life, like threatening deteriorating life symptoms.
But I'm so sorry.
So, yeah. So they're just keeping an eye on her. No, there's a cardiologist assigned to her. And they run a bunch of tests. So we're waiting to hear the results now. That was the earliest I got from my sister, like around 6 in the morning or like 5 in the morning. But yeah, she's in the hospital right now. But I'm just like, oh my God, my mom... It's like a consistent thing and they haven't been able to find what it is. Like, oh, pues, ¿qué será? Y mamã's like, yo sé que tengo algo porque no me lo encuentran. Like, how could they not find it? And I think this is also part of like the self-care aspect, right? Our health. Like with your mom, Irene, like your mom, like it has stolen so much of her independence, Ceci, you lost your mom and she was still trying to be so strong, like all this stuff instead of like kind of like settling in of like, you know what? I'm not well. Let me take some time for myself. Let me take time to feel what I'm feeling and how to improve. Not to feel sorry for yourself, but to be okay to be taken care of. And I think with my mom, it's like she's been feeling this for some time, but everyone thinks it's okay because she's still chingándole, Every day lo mismo. Because she's not slowing down. My dad is like,
not slowing down.
Like my mom's like, tu papá no me cree, no one believes me. I'm like, Mom, well then slow down. Slow down. And right now that I read that, I'm just like, she knows what she's feeling. She definitely knows. Because she goes, cada ratito, a cualquier momento yo me voy a morir, And it's like, and you know how I told you guys, yo le digo, ay mami, es que hierba mala nunca muere, and she like laughs. But damn, only uno nomás sabe cómo se siente. Only you know how you feel. But like, what is it about our culture that it's not okay to slow down?
Slow down.
To slow down. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad she tells her sister because I think sometimes they also are really private. Mm-hmm. So at least she's speaking up, even though she says nadie me cree, because it's hard to believe it because andan chinga. I'm really glad she's telling her sister. I'm really glad she's knocking on that door at 6 a.m. A little bit of advocacy is going to get her the support she needs. Yeah. And by the way, deteriorating life does not mean tomorrow, right? For you and for anyone listening, that could just mean like there are some things that are going to come with age and you could be like this for the next 10 years. And it sucks because I've watched my mom's life deteriorate over 10 years. But pilas, like in the brain, pilas. But in the body, completely different. And I really hope that your mom's body will slowly deteriorate and that she can feel better and that
there's so much more in there that I'm just like, but I need to like, we're talking about our moms, I told you guys. Gracias.
We're going to pray for your mom, Vero. We're going to pray for her.
This is part of like kind of going into like, why did I struggle to enter this soft era? There's this whole idea, right, of like first gen pressure to like make it worth it. Make everything you're doing worth it. Is it worth it? Is it worth it me doing this? Is it worth it me doing that? And I feel like we're always, when we look at people around us and it's like, oh, well, let me go to college and then let me get the job and let me do this. And then we came into this idea of it would only be worth it once I do this, right? But when is that? When is it enough? When is that like, when do we reach a point, or when do we start slowing down and recognizing like, I don't have to go to that next level to make it worth it. How do I know it's worth it now? Does that make sense?
It does.
It does. It does. And as you're saying that, I was thinking it's hard, right? But I think it helps when you have a partner, hold each other accountable, because, everyone in their own mind, like, ustedes dos con sus esposos, perdón, like maybe they have their own mark where like, okay, ya que llegue aquí, I'm going to be okay. But then you get to that mark and it's like, okay, what next? And then, but sitting with each other and saying, hey, we're okay right now. Like, let's be grateful for where we're at right now. That's how I woke up today, believe it or not. Like, just feeling, well, one, that it was my birthday, that I woke up, right? Que estoy cumpliendo 44. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, I feel gratitude for like reaching this age, and being thankful and for what I have, and not being so pressured to like, okay, well, what's next? I think I don't, it comes with age. Of course it comes with age, pero I'm more, ¿cómo es la palabra? I can't think of it in English or Spanish, but
content, fulfilled.
Yeah, fulfilled and content. And funny enough, this morning, at the girls, like every drop off, like assembly, whatever they have it. And on Mondays, the priest, he does the open prayer or whatever. And he always has a virtue of the week. And the virtue of the week was gratitude. I was like, oh my God, how awesome and how perfect that I woke up like that. The priest was talking about it. And anyway, I think just sitting down and being content, como dijo Irene, con lo que tenemos ahorita, y no estar tan presionados like, okay, tengo que hacer esto, or I'm going to be better when I get to this other, milestone. I think again, it comes with age, but reminding ourselves, sitting down and reminding like, okay, qué agradecida estoy por el día de hoy, because tengo familia, tengo salud, and yeah, just being content.
I agree, Vero, that we can get stuck in that mindset of moving the goalpost and comparing ourselves to others and wanting to do more and have more and the next thing. And it's really hard to enjoy the present moment. I think for me with older kids, I felt, and maybe it's obvious to the listeners or to you too, once my son turned 18 and I've watched him become an adult and go off into his life, and I feel like a finality, and I've used that word before in my parenting, I'm going to be his mom forever, and we're closer than ever. And I love my oldest son, and I love all my kids, and my oldest son and I have such an interesting relationship because we can talk like adults to each other. But I feel like it gave me a sense of closure. I did that chapter of my life really well. And if I do it the same with the other two, I think we're going to be great. And so for all the moms out there with little kids and kids in middle school and kids that you feel like you're just trying to survive, do the best you can. And one day, I promise you, you'll feel that you're no longer chasing something, that you no longer have to be something for them, that you no longer have to do something for them, because there has to be an end. There has to be an end. And I'm thanking God every day that I created this weird sense of, okay, this is done. I can't parent him anymore. He is a grown up. Whatever I did right, whatever I did wrong, I can be a good friend and a sounding board to him and give good advice like I would to a friend and love him like his mom. But that is done. And it's good to finish things. Like, you can't finish being married. It just has to change. You can't finish being a daughter, because even if your mom's gone, Ceci, you're still her daughter forever. Right? There's a lot of things you can't finish. And you're always going to feel like a parent, but there's something about not having kids as your children. They're adults. And Vero, I think that helps people have closure within your life that is still going. Your career, I think, also needs to get to that point too, that you have to be, I can't keep chasing a career into my 50s and 60s and 70s. That chapter's over too, the things that I want to do in it, and have closure in that. That's okay too, to have parts of your career shift and evolve and not be something. And I'm saying that out loud because the tip of the day is I want to give everybody permission to be like, yeah, that's over. Yeah, I'm done with that. Yeah, that's over. And that's okay. And that's not bad. That's not failing. My husband would always say that I was the kind of spouse, and he would always say it respectfully, that did move the goalpost with goals. Like I wanted this, then I wanted that, then I wanted this, then I wanted that. And I always in my mind knew I was like, I do, because there's one goal I have left. And I knew that about myself. And then once I reached that goal, I was like, now he doesn't hear me move the goalpost. And to him, it's like so uncomfortable right now too. She is done moving the goalpost. She's totally not. Whatever you want to do, whatever you. I'm
Irene's
so
like,
chill
I said
towards him. And he's like, you don't got nothing we're running after. Like, there's nothing, babe. Like, yeah. Imagine he'll be like, "Está loca." But I can do that one on my own too. But I wouldn't leave my family alive. But my goals of like crazy travel, all that. The point is, it's okay for things to be over. Do not always move the goalposts. Once you achieve something, seeking something else. I do feel that's a trauma response. That's a trying to find fulfillment in the outside things you're reaching to have because of something outside of you. Take stock of what you have and be at peace with what you have. And it doesn't have to be anything else.
I went back to work. It's going to be a year, you guys. My 1 year work-anniversary is coming.
Congratulations. El big papi. Congratulations.
Work-wise, I love being productive. I love being able to do these things. And I'm just like over it, you guys. I want to be like, yeah, I'm just like, why?
Right?
Why
it's
is
okay
work
for things
there?
to be over, but
It is okay.
Grateful for it. Why is in the way of
why
my
is working
life?
you're like, why is working my fucking way?
But the part that I'm over is like my fixed ops director. He's amazing, right? So there's the GM who's in charge of the entire operation, right? And then underneath him is 2 people, which is the fixed ops director and then the general sales manager. And then under them, it's me under the fixed ops director and the parts manager. So it's just us 2. And then the other side is like 5 sales managers, right? So on our service side, it's just like, in a sense, I'm like the third in command, right? So my fixed ops director was having a conversation with me. He's just like, okay, so my life is super hectic right now, right? Because of auto traveling, the kids in activities, kids in school. I drive 30 minutes away from the house from work also to drop off Mara. I want to have dual immersion, right? Like preschool. Then I drive an hour back to work because of traffic. So ando en chinga. Like I do. I'm like, my little minivan is just like, you just see the little smoke because that's me. All right, drop you off. See you later. Bye. Hopefully everyone's okay. Good luck, everybody. But my boss was like, hey, you're great. I love, you're such a fast learner, all these great things, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But he's like, what is going on with you in your life right now? Like, because I told him I was going to need some flexibility. I'm like, I'll be the closer. I'll close, right? So we had agreed on that. He'll open and then I close. So I told him I'm going to need some flexibility right now that Otto's going to have to travel because I'm going to have to be leaving a little earlier since the kids are in activities. He's like, but you're my closer. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm asking you if I can have some flexibility. I want to have this conversation with you because he's going to start traveling in the next month. So we have a month to plan this, right? And we talked about this before on the podcast. You have to keep your bosses in the loop if you need the support, to get the support or look for or ask for the support you might be needing. So for me, I was just like, okay, I need to have this conversation as soon as possible because I need this. So I told him it's going to be a few months. And these few months have felt like years, you guys, okay? Of how like crazy it's been. Work has been ridiculous, right? I mean, the pressures of producing and performing, right? And still creating profit even when times are slow, right? And you have to be aware of what your client base is and what their situations are and what's happening in the world and understand that they're not having that pocket cash like they did before for these services, for maintenance, for whatever. So I know I'm aware of all this stuff, right? Because you have to be aware of your market and who your client base is. But then he's like, I think you could totally be the fixed ops director. You can definitely run this place. He's like, I'm going to retire in about 5 years. And he's like, this is your role. And in my head, I'm like, shit, I don't know about otros 5 años de este desmadre, güey.
Otros 5 años.
No mames. So I was just like, I had to just I'm like, he's like, what do you think? Do you think you could do that? Because right now your life, que no, it's like, hey. And I was like, well, maybe in 5 years I'll be okay. Sí, güey. En 5 años van a estar más grandes.
Well,
And it's not like it's something that is
in
not
5 años,
possible.
okay. So,
but in my head, I was like, do I want that? Do I really want that? You know?
That's the right question. That's the right question.
And that for me is that's where I'm at. So work-wise, it's like, it was really, I went through a hard time leaving work, right? And being away for 7 years and then trying to get back was really hard getting back. And then now that I'm there, I'm just like, oh, what part of it, how much of this do I want in the sense of the responsibility, that stuff? Like you can still be a leader without having to be number one, right? And you can still show up and be an impact to your workplace without having to be the person in charge in a sense. So I'm at that point where it was really hard kind of to admit that, because it's like, no, but you're the leader, you're this, you're that. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Right now, I kind of want to just step into like being a decent mom, you know, motherhood and all this. So for me, it comes to like the work part también.
And sometimes, Vero, being the leader means that you have a lot of people around you that help you be the leader. You don't have to be the one doing it by yourself. So being the leader, if you do want that thing down the road in 5 years, but you don't want it how it is now or how your boss has it, you have the power to change that. You can want something later that someone has, and you're like, but I don't want it the way they have it. I can't do it that way. I don't want what they have. I will take that job. I'll take that pay. I don't want to deal with their staff or their systems. Girl, I'll take those 5 years to change all the things you don't want. And then you'll be like, I do want it.
I feel that when we start setting goals and we start pushing and what's worth it and what's next, it's like life is a little hard at that moment, right? Because you're trying to make everything work out to allow you or to facilitate reaching and achieving. So I think we just covered that. How about in the sense of like the way you are a mother or the way you are a woman is probably softer than with our mom's generations.
Yes. I feel completely different than my mom's generation by the just grace of God because of time. Like we live in different times. We live in a different country. So things have changed. But I also feel, and this happens to everyone I imagine, like such a different mother to my youngest versus my oldest. And I just want to remind people that have like their oldest as their only child or very young, or you only have one child. We are so hard. And maybe it's a Latino thing. Maybe it's just a mom thing. I don't know. Maybe it's not everybody's problem, but I feel like we're so hard on our oldest more than we are on our youngest. We worry about how the world's going to see them and they've got to be damn near perfect, and maybe not perfect, by the way, but like we put pressures, I think, sometimes on our oldest to get it right because we're trying to get it right because we don't know how to be parents yet. We don't know. I can't let them have the wrong friends. I can't let them have bad grades. I can't let them not be an extracurricular. We don't really know yet. And then you do this experiment with your oldest and you realize, I didn't know. I don't know if they were going to like that sport. I didn't know if they were going to like that teacher. I didn't know if they were going to be gay or straight. I didn't know if they're going to like religion. I don't know if they're going to hate God. You don't know anything. You can't make your kid be anything. You can just be a good person and a good example and have, right, obviously structure and routine for your kids and like show up and be a good human. But with my youngest, I feel I don't have all these pressures to be all this in his life and guiding him and talking to him and lecturing him and moving him and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's just like chill and a wonderful human being. And him and his brother are a lot alike and they're wonderful human beings. And they were probably both going to be wonderful human beings without me stressing out. So that's how I change Vero. And this is my advice for like new moms with just one child or the oldest child that you're trying to navigate being that parent too. Take it easy. You don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect. And don't stress over everything because you are going to loosen up. You're going to see that they're not going to die, that you are not a bad mom. You just have to think, let me treat this kid like the third kid. Let me treat this kid like the fourth kid. And it's a funny thing that we say, and it's so true. Because like with the first, I had like 3 baby showers. With the last kid, he was already in my arms and we had like one random baby shower thrown together at my house. Like it's just, they're different kids. With the first kid, I had every color sock, every supply, every tool, every research. With the youngest kid, he was probably wearing his sister's clothes and a binky that belonged to the neighbor. Truly, no one gave a fuck anymore. And that change only happened because like I went through something, as all moms go through something, and you realize I was too much. I was too much raising the oldest. And so I have gotten softer and I have changed and I have chilled out. And then I think my youngest is probably not going to go to college. Like he's probably, and he's great, right, in school. But it's like, because I've changed so much, whatever. Like when the time comes, I'm burned out. He's burned out. Anyway, I don't know, but it's funny how we just loosen up on all the things that we wanted for them. So in motherhood, I see the change.
I'm laughing because I have this weird dynamic, right? I definitely have changed from how my mom was. My mom was so strict with me. I'm the oldest, so she was so strict with me. Like, I wasn't able to. My daughters were asking me the other day, like, "Oh, Lessa, do you remember your first dance in high school? Like, you were a ninth grader?" I was like, "No, I didn't go to any dances until my senior year."
Exactly my point.
Right?
Exactly my point,
Because tu abuela
right?
no me dejó ir, right? Tu abuela no me dejó ir hasta mi prom and like a winter ball, whatever. I'm like, pero hasta my prom. I'm like, and then your tío José we had to go on the same ride, my cousin with his date, and then me with my date. Our uncle had to go drop us off at prom. And so anyway, definitely super strict with me. And then she became more lenient, maybe too lenient with my brother and my sister. But also, I remember her being like she didn't want me to dress a certain way, you know, like I quería que me vestiera de tal manera.
Yep.
And then family members would bring clothes for me from Mexico, and like she would like get so mad que me los pusiera. And I try to be more like lenient with my daughters with like their styles, right? Like I don't be, you know, when they were babies, yes, I would dress them the same because it was cute, you know, as twins. But once they started like just having their own opinion about clothes, I let them choose their own clothes, their own style. They don't share at all. Maybe it's the twin thing. And I did yesterday I wanted, and I posted a picture of Samantha on my Instagram because she was hating those overalls and she didn't want to wear them anymore. I got them for her last year in Spain. I'm like, but they're so cute, ya no te van a quedar, just wear it for mass, like one last time. She cried y todo, and I was like, just do it for me one last time, Samantha, one last time, please. I'm like, ya no te los vuelves a poner. I'm like, you look so cute. And then yeah, she se los puso, me complació en ese sentido. I'm like, ya, te prometo que ya no te voy, like, you're not gonna wear it. So I only forced her because I wanted to get one last picture in this, like, cute overalls. Y fue a misa, and todo el mundo se la estaba chuleando. Like, oh my God, your daughters are, like, so well dressed. And, like, oh my God. And I was like, thank you. And then le dije, oh my, ya ves, te estaban chuleando. Las, yeah, but I just don't like it. I'm like, well, you don't have to wear it anymore.
By the way, those are like some of the best pictures you've ever taken.
Right?
Those pictures you took of your daughter in the background, the way the colors work,
Yeah,
the fall, I love.
Llegando de misa, I was like, ponte allí. Before you take it out, ponte allí. Te voy a tomar fotos.
I was like, I don't know if Ceci realizes, but everything about this picture is working. But it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Thank you. So yeah, definitely not strict in that sense. My mom was overprotective. Like we could never do sleepovers with like friends. My daughter's not at that age yet, but I'm gonna allow them to do that. Also, we were never allowed to go over friends' house, or they can like, oh yeah, another mom from the school to pick up your kids. Uy, nunca, no, que les vaya a pasar. And no, I've built trust with some of the moms at the school that I'm totally okay. Just the other night on Saturday night, the school had a father-daughter dance, and my girls were not going to be able to go. And one of the 8th graders was going to watch them, but then being the last father-daughter dance, her mom wanted her to go, and then the mom's like, pero yo te las cuido. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And she's like, or do they want to go to the dance? I'm like, maybe. So they went to a dance solas, sin sus papás, at age 8. So, qué diferencia. Whereas, like, a mí no me dejaban hasta when I was, an older teenager.
They didn't let you leave the house till you got married.
There you go. I know.
How funny is this? I didn't go to a school dance either. At all. I think I went to one accidentally my junior year because we had gone back from a basketball championship game, and we had to go get our stuff in the locker room that was in the gym, and the dance was in the gym. It was like a winter ball or something. So I took pictures with my basketball teammates at the winter ball thing, and then where I estamos with our chola lip liner, stiff hair, posing in our uniforms. Okay,
that's cool.
Yeah. That's hilarious. My sister went to one dance with my brother because she could only go if my brother took her.
Yeah.
And then I went to like all of them. So it's a difference, right? The difference in life, like 18 years later.
My brother and my sister went to all their dances.
Yeah.
My brother
went to all my
went
dances.
prom as a freshman? Like, la diferencia, ¿no?
Yeah, it's super different. I remember just my sister telling me how she had to be with my brother all the time to get any kind of freedom because they wanted him to be like supervising her very
well.
bold
That's
girl
how
defense.
culturally we're going to be different, right? I think for me, I am same thing with Ceci. I was along the same lines. I think that I think both my parents did not want me to get married young. I think they had realized when my sister got married at 18, about to turn 19, they were like, this is too young in a sense. Like even for them, because my parents didn't get married. My mom and my dad got married late in their later 20s, so they didn't meet each other in the rancho. They met here once they had immigrated, right? And all that stuff. But then they didn't have kids until like my mom was, I think 27 when she got pregnant with her first. So she wasn't young, right? But she wasn't old either. But I feel they were a little more cautious in that sense of like, nope, you're not going to get married. Like, vamos a apoyarte. Like, in a sense, they realize like, hey, we're going to support whatever you need. You want to go to college? Okay. Like I remember the time when I got accepted to Santa Barbara and I, after I realized I wanted to go to SB instead of Berkeley, right? And all that stuff. My mom was like, but why are you going to go so far? At first she was okay. If I went to Cal, it was fine because your brother's there. Your brother can take care of you. But when I said Santa Barbara over Cal State Long Beach, they were like, no. My mom's like, why are you going so far? There's a school right here that you can go to. I'm like, but that's not the school I want to go to. And my dad was like, mujer, in a sense, like, mujer, ya, la vamos a apoyar, va a ir a donde ella quiera. Wherever she wants to go, she's going to go. We're going to support her. And I think I got that lucky end of the stick in that sense because I think they also realize as parents, right? As a mom, I am more strict than my mom, but I'm trying to allow myself to be as gentle as she was, like the patience that she had, and do that. So I'm healing myself. I think my previous grandmothers through allowing my mom's vibe to kind of persevere here. But I think we've had a great conversation today in the sense of entering our soft eras. De que no somos flojas is just more accepting of the fact that we do need rest. We do need the downtime. We need to sometimes take a moment and realize how far we have come, how worth it life has been, and that not reaching that next goal will make it that much more worth it. It just means that as it is already, your life is that awesome as it is, Take the moment to reevaluate. We talked about this in GFS this past weekend too. Reevaluate and acknowledge and give yourself fucking props for how far you've come and the things you've achieved. So in closing, we're going to end with an affirmation. I release the need to be the strong one all the time. For our listeners that have indulged this, our podcast for the last 7 years almost, right? Para allá vamos. This is our 317th episode, entering our soft era, which is totally okay. You can find out everything about Level Up Latina, www.leveluplatina.com. You could just say leveluplatina.com, huh? Veronica. Triple dubs.
Millennial over here. Wait, nosotros somos millennials. ¿Qué somos nosotras? Millennials, ¿verdad?
Okay. And if you want to keep the conversation going or something stuck out in this conversation that you want to share with us, please share it in our Wednesday post when Irene puts our podcast out there. Feel free to comment and share any thoughts or DM us. Our Instagram is at Level Up Latina, that you can find us there at Facebook as well. And our email is admin@leveluplatina.com. We'd love to hear from you. Any suggestions, any things that you felt with this conversation, please feel free to share. Thanks again. Se nos cuidan y se la lavan.